Thank you for joining Wolf Game Theory today, as always. And just know nothing in the show is to be construed or interpreted as financial advice. Also, any guest of the show is not reflective of the opinions and/or point of view of Wolf Game Theory and should be considered opinion. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody out there on the farm, and welcome to the Wolf Game Theory. I am Layer Cake, and always joined by
Neil Bottle.
Today we're going to run through the standings, and it's getting kind of tight at the top of the candle. We're looking at Real Crypto Coach Corey, G Money, Panther QB, and Wongsworth. Top four seems to be cementing together, it seems like. We'll go through the middle of the pack, beginning with Real Crypto Coach team number 2, with AJV's team, Woolish 1026, and Johnny Moe, Gary V's other team, pulling up the rear of the middle. As we look to the bottom of the pack, we see Just Some Guy, Lord Fenrir, Friend 721, the Shamdu Malcode, and our favorite Mr. Anon. As we look through the moves of the day, a lot of attacking, a lot of blood, with a little fortification in between. It's like a triple stack attack sandwich with a couple of fortifications. We look at the top. The last move was Panther QB, who has attacked the Real Crypto Coach. No news there. Yeah, I think we're sort of really kind of no need to read between the lines anymore when it comes to this game. Seems like the strategy is there, and it's all about execution at this point. Malcode was attacked Mr. Panther. Obviously, I want to go ahead and say that was commissioned by Mr. Corey, but I guess we'll find out in just a moment when we cover that. Going down the line, AJ fortified once again. Real Crypto Coach was attacked by G Money. Seems like that's a little bit of a personal battle that's developing between those two. We talked about the gift a couple of days ago, and G Money has retaliated, and it seems like their back and forth has just begun. Just Some Guy, again, launched an attack on Crypto Coach Corey. Woolish 1026 fortified, and Crypto Coach and G Money went back and forth. What do you think about that, Neil?
Yeah, so it's nothing really too surprising. AJ there building up his fortifications before he heads into war. Just Some Guy has really kind of, I think he's been slipping down while Lord Fenrir is like over fortified in my opinion and needs to start doing stuff. But if we look at what their production is at the moment, they have went from very low on the board, I want to say second last, to come up here, but their production is still better than 2 teams that are ahead of them. So, within a very short period of time, they're going to be up there. They're going to be over fortified. And that's really interesting to see how that plays out.
Look, we got a new GIF up in there.
I like the rotations. And shout out to Scarly. I have spoken with him, and we will have an advertisement up soon ourselves.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
and that's right. That's right before the announcement of the alpha game, right? That was the gift there. That's awesome. Oh, great!
That's a cool one.
I love that. Fucking love it.
So let's see where it brings us. Discord link, Gary V. Yeah. So, sorry, I just lost that page there. But
no, that's good.
Because I do want to look at the floors and the percentages that are.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, it was loading. I was like, "There's nothing left." Wow. Yeah, so are all the survivor sheep? Oh,
there's 2 listed.
Shit.
No, yeah. So this was up at 7 for Generation 0 earlier today.
Oh my god!
And then someone listed for 4.69. But we've, with we've seen a lot of movement on wolves today. Cole dumped his wolves,
Oh, I
And
saw that. That was that. He's kind of a douchebag, that guy, right?
yeah, and I think he has
I mean,
a
that's
pouch up
not
for
that's
sale.
not
That's
the
not a
that's
bad
not the
deal.
show's opinion. That's my opinion. He was what project was he in? He was in
Pudgy
Pudgy
Penguins.
Penguins. He's a guy who rug pulled that, or allegedly was not a cool guy. I don't want to say anything out of turn. I don't know enough about the events that took place within that Discord, but evidently people were not too happy with that guy. But so I'm happy to have him out of Wolf Game if he's not a cool guy. Is that right?
Yeah, he's still holding some land and farmers. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, I think
we can cut that out later if we don't want to hear that.
it's up to you.
you're the man with the plan. So if you don't want to put that in, I totally understand. If you want to be democratic about this,
I don't even care anymore. I just when I seen that,
I don't think
shit
anybody's
blow up,
gonna be shitty about it. But we could definitely cut this conversation.
this little part, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, look at this. We've got some wolf movement. Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah.
Wolf movement.
So yeah, you're looking. That's a good buy there. That 9. Yeah, I like when you can get Generation 1 animals like up in alpha for the same price as down on alpha in Generation 0.
Right.
I think that's
You
the
like
kind of
that? You like that metric?
yeah, I like that. Like I'd love to see the alpha 7s at that kind of around 14, 15 ETH in the Gen 1s. Like that's a buy for me. I think that's like undervalued, you know, that way. So I like when they're like that because it's like, oh, now I look at and see if I can make a move, you know.
I was just thinking about that tweet about Corey taking credit for the value of assets in the game, and I was just thinking to myself, if that dude needs to buy some animals like at the last minute, he only has himself to blame for the amount of money he's spending on all of those animals. So he's just driving up the price on himself, I guess, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, I know the people are trying to get out of wolves into pouches at the moment.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah, I mean, pouches are the play, man. I remember, first time we started talking about that OG days of the Discord. As soon as the risky game ended, that was like the thing that kept us entertained, was searching OpenSea for pouches and being like,
that's why these tools were built. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
Because we were like, oh, how do we find pouches that haven't been claimed yet? And
dude,
like I got lucky. I got one.
Yeah.
And that was the recommendation. Yeah, like that was so cool. And that's when people understood pouches. And that's
Absolutely.
why pouches have been going up.
Yeah, the arbitrage was ridiculous. I mean, when wool hit, 50 cents, 30 cents, we were like, whoa, this is amazing. It was a little taste. That arbitrage. That was, so shout out to Rainbow and Steezy and iDNA and all those people out there who outlined that strategy back in the day.
Educated the people.
Just to keep it real out there in the farm. We just want to give people their due when they do.
Recognize. Pack loyalty on Wolf Game tools. Yeah, it's an interesting metric. Yeah. So
we need to have on.
Yes.
Putting out some good shit.
Absolutely, the best.
I love it.
Shit. So you look at who's rocking this table. We've got coming in at the top is Fren, 721.
Well, wait a second. Let's you know what? Let's back up for a second. Why don't we? Can you bring up the Shepherd's last tweet? I think that'll give this chart a little context because we didn't even talk about that yet. And that was basically he came out and just was kind of saying what loyalty is the shit, right?
Yep.
Or at least that's what Brian Santos said afterwards. He was like, "Yep, stake your animal,
stake or get
go
the
fuck
out.
home." Love that. Thus far, nearly 88% of players have demonstrated commitment and will reap the rewards. I do not take such commitment lightly. So yeah, and I think that was the onus for starting the conversation around loyalty. And then I came up with this wonderful little spreadsheet here.
Yeah.
And it basically outlines loyalty within the packs. Like how many people have staked their animals, staked their wool, and just pretty much remained loyal.
Yeah. Well, no, the metric is it's based on who, like the amount of people who are 100% staked with someone. So.
Oh wow! I didn't even know that was like. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's a
okay.
bit of a different metric that he measures on.
Wow.
But it's along the same lines. You know, it's interesting to look at all the same. You know.
Right. Wow, that's awesome. Oh well, that even opens it up even more.
Yeah, which is why we see friend 721 there with the top percentage,
Right.
because that's probably supporters. Is that the poker team? Is it, or is that Woolish?
No, 1026 is the poker guys.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Friend 721 really. Yeah, they're not really vocal.
Yeah, it could be just guys that are friends with the guy who owns the Alpha 8. You know, I haven't had any contact or anything through this.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, you know, the top teams just
Shantou is the second most loyal team.
Yeah, we all know where his loyalties lie. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. It's interesting. I feel like it's really telling to look at this. You know, I know we looked at the graph yesterday, and I tried to look at it. You know, look between the lines. But this one is one of those ones you kind of look at face value, and you're like, yeah, this does make total sense. You know, Crypto Corey's team number 2, not much. Probably, you know, pretty much tells the tale of that being just kind of a side team.
When they got knocked down, I would have left during the wall game. You know, I would have taken my opportunity to stake somewhere else. I'd be like, this team is already, you know, he's not interested in protecting them. Right. He's just kind of, you know, he's just interested in number 1. So I wouldn't have had, like, I would have been like, no, I'm going to get my animals out of here.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's really just, you know, it's when I try to decode this graph, I look at it and I say, okay, well, I know G Money is just a bunch of old schoolers and they're just ride or die. I know that. And I know probably people are loyal to G Money himself, the people that came in because of him, and they see a long-term vision with the team aside from just the game. So they're like, we're going to be with this guy. We're not going to turn our back, you know? And so when the snapshot of the wallet is taken or the snapshot of the stakers they're taken, they want to be there. You know, they're not going to, you know, if you're in Pixel Vault, you know the pain of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just some guy, Johnny Moe, Lord Fenrir. Yeah, it's interesting because, that's interesting because maybe there's just not too many people on those teams.
So the bigger percentage, if you move even one animal, it could knock it out of skew a lot.
Right. Exactly.
Or it could be that a lot of people on AJ and Johnny Moe's team have staked between the two, which brings down their kind of pack loyalty overall. And that actually could be what's affecting real crypto coach as well, to be fair. When you think about that data, you know.
I just wonder, you know, part of me looks at that and I'm like, you know, I feel like Crypto Corey just has his animals staked on the second team.
Maybe.
And so, you know, I'd have to do due diligence on that theory and go through the wallet and look and really do some research, but I hate that, so I'm not going to do research. That's why we have people like, you know, Scarly and whatnot, and Brian. They do all the research because they have big brains. I just have a big mouth.
Yeah, so we've seen wool dip down to pretty much that kind of 14 something cent, you know, and then straight back up into 16.
We don't have to go into that theory. We know that between 14 and 17 seems to be, or 14 and 16 seems to be the buy trigger for a lot of people. As soon as it dips down, bang, just right back up. I feel like I just, I blinked my eyes and then I like opened them again and it was right back up. So it was pretty instantaneous. I think we were talking before the show started, when we were rapping about wool a little bit in our little breakdown. We were like, it'd be good to build a bot. If we had built a bot or had a bot commissioned when we started, this interim game, the alpha game, and we said, okay, bot, when it hits 14 cents, 15 cents, I want you to buy as much as you can. And then we would set sort of places down the line, in a month, or not a month even, we haven't even been playing a month, but, in like 4 or 5 days, when it hits 17 cents, sell it. And then it'll be back on the prowl. Because as you can look, you can see, you can see the volatility and you can see those drops pretty, But if you bought a bunch and sold a bunch, I mean, you'd be looking pretty good. Not financial advice, by the way. I know we say that in the show, but I'm just saying, don't go out and have a bot commissioned.
No, not unless you really know what you're at. To make, I suppose that's the interesting thing about wool at this price, is that it's low enough to kind of trade and make percentages on a few cents if your bag is big enough, that way. And absolutely. Yeah, but there's always the risk with the markets, and that's why I personally don't do that. But
Well, I mean, also what we were saying was like, we can start having this conversation right now. I mean, I don't think it's any secret if you go back and look at the risky game and the end of the risky game, what happened with pouches. The sun is up, arbitrage could be turned on its head in, a couple of weeks. So,
because I know.
If you go back and hint, just look at that. Look at what happened to wool pouches after the risky game, and you may.
For sure, because people are going to want to take profits, and that's the most direct way to take the profits. There is also, for the people who are looking to take those profits, I think there's going to be people looking to double down on pouches for long term in the game. We know how important they are, what we've known for a long time, but that sort of tumbling blocks or penny droppings are happening all the time. We talked about it earlier in the show,
Well, you have you have almost a simultaneous action, whereby it's like the wool pouches will be sort of spilled onto the market, but yet the enthusiasm for the game will be driving up the wool price. You know what I mean? And then ETH is also pumping right now to a certain degree. I mean, I wouldn't say it's pumping. I guess it's rising, Yeah. And so with those two factors, the rise of ETH and the rise of wool, that arbitrage might not be so arbitragey this time. You know what I mean? It might not be there. It might not have the same scent, I guess. So when I say look at the data and, you'll see what happens, I don't think that, because we didn't launch a game right after that. We just finished risky game and it was like, oh, here we are waiting again. So launching into the full game, so wool didn't pump hard, I don't think, when risky game ended. I think it did quite the opposite, if I remember.
Yeah.
But when the launch of the game happens, you're going to get a tremendous amount of interest and enthusiasm. And so that's going to drive the price of wool up with ETH I'm being presumptuous on ETH. It could take it down tomorrow, but if we stay on course and ETH is rising and wool is rising, the pouch dump is not going to be there as sweet as it was before.
For sure. Yeah. Interesting.
Do you know whether or not we get wool available to us again after this game? Because we're going to get wool pouches, right? That's given. Are we going to, because after risky game, we had some available, right? It was like 10,000 or something. I just wonder if we're going to have a portion of it available to us immediately. Because that was to meet
the farmers. There was a reason for that. He might he might give 5 because he's giving landowners 5. So by giving the landowners 5, I believe that there's something needs to be built on the land, or you need 5 to do something.
Yeah.
I don't know what that
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like a stimulus check. It's like the shepherd's giving us a stimulus check.
That's exactly what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Here's your UBI.
And that doesn't come to the sheep owners that claim land, though. That's only for people that minted land in the Dutch auction.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I wasn't aware of that. I thought anyone who had land with your land. Wow.
And it's only the minters. So if you minted land and sold your land, you can, when the game launches, still go in and claim 5,000 wool. People, I don't think are going to know.
So the person who bought it is not going to get that?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh. Yeah.
I might write a thread on that.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, just lots to think about, in that way, for sure. I mean, yeah, I was definitely under the impression that if you purchased the land or you were the holder of the deed, that you would receive that 5, but fuck, that's crazy. Wow. Well, kudos on those who minted.
Yeah.
Kudos on those who minted.
By the time that comes around, who knows what wool will be at? We don't know. Like, there's no way of knowing.
No doubt. Well, I think the launch, if our thesis sort of that we've been throwing around is true, that the game is going to be a seamless launch, so to speak, I don't see any reason for wool to go down. I mean, if we had another wait, like if the alpha game ended and then there was another lull period where he's like, oh, we're gonna have an auction or we're gonna chill some more, then the price of wool will not do good. But if we go right into that game, it's just gonna be like, I feel that's from my experience with this ecosystem.
And I completely agree, buddy. So on that note, I think we'll wind it up for tonight. And
yeah, happy Saturday, everyone. Shout out to everyone out there listening. Oldies, newbies, possible joiners to the game. I don't know what that means. Okay. All right. Well, have a good night. Happy Saturday, everyone.
All that. Happy Saturday.
You know it.
Good luck.
Yeah. Follow the Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Do that.